it upon himself to insist that womanhood be put at the center of our governance strategy. Because if we do that, then the rest will become easier for all of us.
Okay, thank you. I take you now to the diaspora Nigerian. I, for one, and I know from those that I speak to, are very, very concerned about the issues in Nigeria. People are also very interested in wanting to be a part of what is happening in Nigeria. How does this administration plan on including the diaspora in Nigeria? First of all, the primary question we have is, can we vote and when?
Well, let me begin by informing you that Mr. President is already responding to diaspora requests for participation in governance, for opening the governance space to ensure that the skills of the diasporans are brought back home. I'll give you an example. When he established the 9 universities, out of the 9 vice-chancellors, 3 or 4, about 3 or 4 of the vice-chancellors were sourced from the diaspora.
Okay.
You know, so you already have that template that the diaspora with its huge population and talent must not be ignored in the scheme of things. Now, a run-up, a couple of months ago, about 200 or 300 diasporans came from America on a visit to Nigeria. They toured the country, they visited places, and they came to pay a courtesy call on Mr. President. And he made a firm promise. He said, look, this time the diaspora may not be able to vote, but by 2015, he will ensure that every diasporan is given the opportunity to cast his or her vote for whoever he wants to govern Nigeria. Now, the reason for the delay is because the processes of getting this on will have to go through the National Assembly. And you know bills take time to get perfected. And he felt that it would be too short to put a bill into the National Assembly and get results and allow the diaspora to vote within a month or 2 that the process allowed. So as we speak, as soon as Mr. President is inaugurated on the 29th of May, among the earliest bills that will be going to the National Assembly with the bill that will allow for diasporans to be able to vote in Nigeria's election. He made that promise to the diasporans when they came on a courtesy visit. He made that same promise when he visited Gabon as part of their independence celebration, and he was addressing Nigerians there. He told them they would vote by 2015. He repeated that same promise in Ethiopia when we went for the AU meeting. So at every stop, Mr. President had realized that no nation can ever develop or advance without tapping into these diaspora resources. And Nigerians are some of the most talented, bravest, boldest group of people on earth. And we cannot afford to ignore such a vibrant population with its huge talent that are scattered around the world. We need the diaspora population to move our country forward. If you look at even the campaigns on the internet and elsewhere, the activism of the diaspora, so whether it is on Facebook or any of the social networking site, was very vibrant and huge. And you can test, you can feel it. When Mr. President was declared winner, how the jubilation that followed on the internet and elsewhere, that Nigerians have arrived. And the diasporans contributed to that victory. Nobody can take that away from them. Of course, there were some that were on the side, that were on the side of his opponent, but Mr. President is the president of Nigeria. He's not president of one section or one group. Whether you voted for the president or not, he will have to do justice to all Nigerians.
That's right. Thank you for that. So then, you know, we're all included. Are there any inroads that are being created for the diaspora that would like to come back home? Many a times the issues are that, you know, we don't know how to, you know, navigate when we get home and what happens. Any inroads? Is there a special officer somewhere, anybody that they can speak to, anything?
Yes. About 2 months or so ago, a desk was created, and an SSA was appointed for diaspora population. That desk has been created. So because the first thing is to look at the institution. Is there an institution that will help the diaspora? So that has been set up. And it has been headed by Mrs. Ojukwu, who was appointed as SSA on Diaspora and Affairs. So that first step is there. The second step, and like I've always told my friends in the diaspora, if you are thinking of coming home, do not rush home. you should begin with one step at home and one step in the diaspora, and then take a gradual, systematic movement home, so that you don't just move, because the conditions you live with in London, in Washington, in Houston, or in Boston are not the same conditions in Lagos, in Kano, in Yenagua, or in Benin. The conditions are different. So you've got to take a systematic and gradual, but a determined focus to go home by beginning with one step at home and one step in London or wherever you are based, and then systematically begin to pull yourself through. And with the institution now being set in place, put in place, and with the governance spaces being opened, and with the opportunities that will be emerging, it will be easier to transit. Nigeria needs the diasporan talent. Nigeria needs its huge energy and vision to be able to contribute to that transition, that transformation that we are all marching towards.
Thank you very much, sir. My last question. We've seen that the president is very all-inclusive during his campaign and during his time. How does he plan to continue that during, his term in office? From some quarters, I have heard people say, well, how are you going to bring in the Northerner? How are you going to bring in the Igbo man, the Hausa man, which is a Northerner, the Southerner? How are you going to infuse us all together? How does Mr. President plan to do this?
Well, I think that you've got to. The Igbos have this proverb that a chick that will grow into a cock will be recognized the day it is hatched. Now, what is there to show that this president is an all-inclusive president? When he came into office, you look at the kind of appointments he made. He picked Jega, a man of integrity and excellence from the north, and made him INEC chairman. He picked Ihejerika and made him Chief of Army Staff. He picked he's from the east. He picked Professor Afolabi and made him head of the Civil Service of the Federation. He picked Kayode and made him Defense Minister. I'm just giving some of these examples to tell you that this is an all-inclusive and all-embracing president. Before Kayode, no Yoruba man had ever been Defense Minister in Nigeria. Before Afolabi, the last person that was head of civil service was Adeyemi Lawson in 1964. Before Ihejerika, the last Igbo man that was chief of army staff was Agi Ronsi 44 years ago. Before Jega, you could go on and on to show that this president does not have anything to hide. He's an all-inclusive president that believes that every Nigerian has a right to take up a position or appointment based on merit. So that inclusivity of Mr. President is there. And again, he's God-conscious, he's God-fearing. A leader who is God-conscious and God-fearing will respect the rights of all men and women, will respect the rights of citizens. And because he's a man who has no enemies to fight, and he has said that again and again, that I have no enemies to fight, you are all my friends. He said in the campaign trail that no ambition is worth any Nigerian blood. Don't rig for me, don't kill for me. He is on a mission. You see, I have said again and again that Dr. Jonathan is a pen in the hands of God that had been set to right historic wrongs for all of us. And we've just got to rally around him in a way that will do glory to God's name and to the people of Nigeria. And I believe north or south, east or west, Christian or Muslim, animist or non-religious person, the time has come for us to rally around a leader that has no axe to grind with anyone, that believes that we are all one people, we are all in one country, and we must now move from that downtrodden state where other nations ridicule us, look down on us, to a position where we'll have respect. And the first place to start is to ensure that the leadership recruitment process that allow leaders to emerge through credible elections are perfected. And we have taken that bold step to perfect all the imperfections. It may not, what happened last Saturday may not be 100%. And like I tell people, even older democracies like the United States, you still have Florida shard votes, Gore and Bush slugging it out, and at the end of the day, it was seen that some of the votes were wrongly done and so on. Yet Americans don't go into the street burning houses, burning, killing people and so on. They came together and then get their democracy to decide. The rule of law prevails. So I have come to the conclusion that Nigeria and Nigerians have the capacity to resolve their issues in a way that will do justice to all. The disturbances and the killings that happened in the north, I believe that Nigerians, we are going to go over it, and we are going to come out stronger, more united, and more focused, and we are going to progress under Dr. Ebele Jonathan.
The question of security, I can't leave without asking, what is Mr. President going to do about security? It's been an issue that has plagued the country for so long. Security
is a matter for all Nigerians. It is important that we all are committed to security in our various little ways. But Mr. President swore to an oath to defend and protect all Nigerians. And it is his responsibility. The buck stops on his table. And that is why he's taking it very seriously. Let's look at the most popular means of creating insecurity today, throwing bombs. From about when was Delegiwa killed? 1986. From 1986 to date, there have been over 40 or 50 bomb blasts in Nigeria. Now, in all of those bomb blasts, from that 1986 October, when Delegiwa was killed, a journalist like yourself, was blown up in Lagos, to date, only under Dr. Jonathan have people been arrested and have been prosecuted. In every other situation, the people that perpetrated this act vanished into thin air. Under Dr. Jonathan, he says, no, if you commit a crime, you must go in for it. Security agencies have been empowered to investigate. It's like in England. You commit a crime, even if it takes 20 years, 30 years to go after you, the security services will go after you. And the example Dr. Jonathan is putting in place is that in Nigeria, if you commit a crime, it does not matter whether it is 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, security forces will go after you, and if you are caught, you'll be brought to justice. That is a lesson being given in the present day Nigeria. And I think we are on course. It may be difficult at this moment, but certainly it's going to be very wonderful in the next few years.
Indeed. What should Nigerians in diaspora in Nigeria look forward to in the Jonathan Sambo administration?
Under Jonathan Sambo, we are going to our commitment to building a united, stronger, progressive Nigeria is on course, because Jonathan will open up the governance space in a way that democracy will be consolidated, in a way that the rule of law will prevail, in a way that individuals who commit crime will not go unpunished. That is the essence. The focus on the youths and children to create jobs for our people, to focus on education, to focus on health, to focus on those things that matter to ordinary people, not to the elite alone, but the ordinary people. Food on the table, access to health, education for the children. These are the issues that will engage the hearts and minds of Dr. Jonathan and all those that are working under him. Anything short of that will be a disappointment to the Nigerian people. And Dr. Jonathan has said he will never let Nigerians down. And he is insisting that he's going to do his best to move our country to the next level.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. You've been watching a very special program with the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Dr. Oronto Douglas, giving us an insight into what we're likely to look forward to. My name is Priscilla Nwikpo. Thank you for watching. Good night.